after.
That's a good way to kick off the show. There will be an after show. Sorry, guys. Welcome to the Can-Am Connection. Jody, how you doing? And Nathan, you got to be at a pretty awesome event. Where you guys want to start?
Oh man. I like for me, thank you to everybody that came out, tuned in on pay-per-view. The show was awesome live. The crowd was on point.
I will
Uh
say this about something I was very thankful of, and I think Jody is too. Remember when you used to have the old provider used to make you wait like 24 hours before you could do the replay?
yeah.
It happened quickly. I was, as the show ended, that's pretty much when I started.
The show, yeah, that's phenomenal. The show was like just a smidge over 4 hours, 12 matches and right around 4 hours. Tournament Friday night was great. We had 400 entries. So that was big.
Yeah. One of these
Uh,
days, I'm going to go there. One of these days.
so that was a good time. But all in all, just everybody that put in the work from, Billy Ortegas, all the TAL members, Anna, Robert, Dexter, Adam, like, Ingen with the matchmaking, because some of those matches he put together were phenomenal. Let's not even, they're just a beautiful, amazing matchups. Uh, I think the show went off, you know, obviously, we're still working out minor kinks here and there with certain things. And we do hear the fans' feedback.
Oh,
Like I
good,
did
because
it.
I got one.
I listened to Neil and I did a show yesterday, and like even Neil was watching, and I'm taking notes and of what fans are saying on what they're seeing. So like, I do hear you guys, and I do take notes of it, and it's stuff that we will work to improve in the future.
Oh, well,
Well,
good, because since you're doing that, can I go ahead and add my 2 cents to the matter?
Is it the microphone thing?
Well, it felt like I didn't hear the crowd at all.
Oh,
Like if you go back and watch, it seems like the crowd they were there, they were cheering because you could see when the camera panned to them and stuff, but it's like it just sounded like they weren't there.
it's a
But I knew they were there.
it's a very big area, and we actually had it quite full. Tim can say he was there in person.
I thought the production
Right.
was excellent. There was only one match. You know what I'm going to say next, probably. One
I know
match
exactly. I know exactly what you're
where
gonna say.
where the referee is about to say go, and the camera's like off to some other
Yeah,
camera shot, and
that's what I'm
even
Doc
talking
the
is
about.
paid.
commentators were like, "What the hell is going on?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the stuff, that we take notes of and make adjustments for the future to make sure it's, elite, that it's remedied.
It's
Yes.
better than any I've seen as
Yeah.
far as production goes. That stage was awesome.
Yeah, that stage was incredible.
Tim,
Endless capabilities.
what's
What's up?
going on?
Not much. How we doing?
The best. What did Travis call you? He said, "Is Tim Talmadge not only an awesome arm wrestler, promoter, but is he the best arm wrestling coach on the planet?" Did you hear him say that?
I did. Yeah, I did. No, it was good. The boys did good. I was able to corner a couple of my guys that asked me to corner them and got the W's. So 3-0 on the weekend. Not bad.
Well,
Yeah.
the one nobody even needed a corner room for.
No, I mean, which was awesome because it was my last time cornering, and Mendagas walked over to me and says, "I think you've done enough. Once you have a seat." So he sat me down, and
Yeah.
so it was kind of nice.
Yeah.
What a
I
match
went
there
I
was.
went 2-4. But honestly, the Giannis Mindy match was it was so close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, minor adjustments. Like I said, it's
Yeah.
even when you got people that are masterminds, I'll say, between Giannis and Mendagas, and little tweaks of what somebody can see on the outside that helps them with that win is huge. And it's just it's the math of the table. It's the positioning, It's the elbow. It's the hand. And, it's one of the main reasons why Joseph came back and won that match. We made round 3 an adjustment from the elbow. And just from the adjustment of the elbow, of taking control of center, Cody Wood he couldn't do nothing with that because we controlled center the rest of the time. So
that was one of the most surprising comebacks I think I saw, just because of how the first 2 matches went.
mm-hmm.
Like, I thought Cody Wood was going to have a smooth sailing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he did everything right, and he cut off center, and he had his lane, and he had a hooker that was already outside of his shoulder every time, and you can't fight from a negative position if you're a hooker. So as soon as we adjusted the elbow and started here, he had to go from here now here, which is close to about 9 inches. That's a big difference when you cut that off. And so when you're here, and if you can lock in your position, you're already in your locked position, and that's what
to me, that was the comeback of the night, hands down. I mean, and the great comeback showed a lot of heart, guts, and determination by Moronto coming back from 2-0 down.
Right.
Hey, who's got the picks? Who's got the notes?
I don't.
You want to go match by match, or you want to go off the bat? Who won?
I want to know who won right off the bat.
Tim.
Yeah, who got second?
Me.
Who got third?
You.
Okay, I'm not the loser of the group.
How many picks did I get?
You got 8 correct.
8.
That's not bad.
And the people that I picked outside of there is people that I probably wanted to win.
Well, the only one we all bombed on was the Chaffee Georgie match.
Yeah.
Well, I know 2 of you picked Jocelyn, 1 of you didn't.
Who didn't?
I picked Jocelyn.
Tim.
I didn't. I went out, like I said, the Chaffee, Sarah, and John, those 3 right there. And I believe Cody Merritt, though the 4 that I lost, I believe I said, I don't think they're going to win, but I want them to win. So I think I was pretty spot on with those.
Right.
Well, you guys want to go match by match?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So was it Arson and Sharkovich was the first match?
Arson and Shark was the first match.
All right, you guys kick it off, man.
Arson was just too much. I mean, from their meetup in the round robin, almost a year ago now, 10 months, 11 and 8, 9 months. Arson definitely leveled up, whereas Andre didn't. I mean, it really wasn't a close match out of that one round.
No.
I look at it as like I've never seen Shark be put in that position, and sometimes you can read someone's body language. I've never seen that before out of Shark, and so it was kind of interesting to see how he would, I guess you could say, come back from that. He kind of looked shell shocked to a certain degree. That's what I got out of it. I mean, unless y'all saw something different.
My pick was solely off of one. Arson was just training, and Andre Shark has still been polling. He just polled Arnold. And 2, it was a lot closer than people think in Arizona. I truly believe Arson had a shit draw, and Andre had a good draw when they met up. I believe they met up like round 7 or something like that. And it was more endurance at that point. So I think that Shark did a little too much leading up to this, and that's why I picked Arson. I think that if they both would have had recovery time, I think if Arson would have pulled just like Shark's been pulling, or doing the thing that Shark's been doing, I think it'd have been close.
I will say this though, honestly, if Arson and Andre hadn't have pulled at Arizona, I honestly think Andre could have won the match, just because dealing with that style the first time gives you a guide as to what to do the next time.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, before we go to the next match, I want to ask you a question, what Tim was saying. So Tim, let me ask you, how much time should one take time off for to prepare for a match like that? Because, and I'll say this, because at the Arm Guys event, you got Mr. Paul Cruz looked dominant at the Arnold. He was ready to go, came into his match, didn't look so dominant against Bogdan. And we all can say Styles, this, that, and the other. But I wonder, had he not pulled the Arnold and just focused on that, maybe not that would have changed. Would that be the same situation with Andre and Arsen? Your thoughts?
I don't think so. I mean, obviously, you're right. Styles makes matches and stuff like that, but to me, they both kind of have the same style. I think Andre's just been busy. He seems like he's just been busy, and Andre pulls hard all the time with his guys. Like he lets those guys pull, and he works and works and works. When you go to the Armenians training camp, they don't. It's a blow and go. They don't sit there and let someone work. It's more about hits and getting to your placement. And I think that's where he won that match. He hit first and got to his placement.
I agree.
That's pretty insightful, Tim.
What do I know?
I mean, I feel like the Armenians spend a lot of time between 10 and 2, right? And that's honestly where most training should be done, is between that 10 and 2 range. And Andre will let them take him all the way at the pad and then catch, and he's working that open position a lot.
I agree.
Shall we move on?
Let's do it.
Well, we kind of already talked a little bit about this. Cody Wood and Mr. Moranto, the biggest comeback of the night.
Oh, yeah. Comeback of the night for sure. And I mean, I think everybody there would agree with that. Like, he dug deep, made the right adjustments, and shut down Cody's lane.
It's impressive because...
And he came in significantly lighter than Cody as well.
Well, for a guy to get beat like that, the way he did, and come back in equally dominant fashion, in my opinion, that's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Most guys would just break and kind of accept their fate at that point.
Here's what I saw from this. It's all about making the adjustment. Tim said it when we started the show, when he first came on. Hey, make an adjustment. Will it be the elbow, whatever the case may be, control center, right? I forgot who was in Cody's corner, but one has to wonder, you're up 2-0. And I don't know how much advice you can give a person when they're up 2-0 in the best of 5, because all you need is 1, right? But now when it's 2-2, what's going on in Cody's corner? Like, who's in this corner? How are they making adjustments? Because obviously you guys made an adjustment. Hey, we got to stop the bleeding now. Do this so when he hooks, he's out here rather than out there, right? So again,
Tim,
the way I saw it.
Tim, do you remember who was in Cody? I think his girlfriend was there, right?
It was some guy. It was some guy. I don't know.
I know who it is. I know who it is. Never mind. I remember now. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. But no, at one point they did have the right adjustment. They just went the wrong way with it. And
Tim left.
Am I here?
I can hear you.
Oh,
I can't. I'm saying Tim's gone.
I can hear Tim.
No, I can't hear him.
Oh. Anyway, he made the right adjustment at one point, and that's when he went for the hook, but he went straight down. He tried getting that fast pin straight down to take away from his stuff, but obviously you can't pin someone in the center, and they both kind of elbow fouled because of it. So I'm lucky that the refs made the right call on that, rather than try to give someone a win in the center of the table when it's a 2-2 match.
Right.
But no, I mean, like I said, a lot of people don't know who Joseph still is, right? Obviously, they're going to know now. But there's still a lot of work to be done, and he knows that. And obviously, from people who are watching and know arm wrestling know now, he has a hook. That's it. So there's a lot of adjustments that he's now going to be taking. The hook is there. Now we have to defend the other stuff, because we all know you can't be one-dimensional and be the top guy. It's eventually going to break you down for the right polar. And people are going to figure that out. So now we are back to the drawing board twice a week, and we're going to make the right adjustments for whoever's next for him.
I agree. Next match, what we got?
Valen and Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter and Valen.
I mean, the score shows. Yeah. The score shows 3-2, but it wasn't. I mean, the 2 losses were on fouls. The match. Yeah,
Hunter
Valen got
fouled himself right out of there.
Yeah, Balin got stops, which was impressive, but the match really wasn't close.
Yeah, well, that match shows exactly what it was because you can't win on elbow fouls. So, and if you get elbow fouls, that means you're cheating, and you have to lift your elbow to get a pin.
What do you mean you can't win on fouls?
Can't win on fouls.
He won 2 rounds on fouls.
So
No, Hunter can't win on fouls, so those wins count for Balin.
Yeah. I mean, they count.
Yeah.
And he just needs to be a little more patient.
Now, is that a flaw? Who needs to be more patient?
Hunter.
So is that one of those deals because I'm an explosive, puller, hit off the go? Are you saying because that's his style that he doesn't train in a patient setting?
No.
I'm saying the fouls were unnecessary because he looked like he was in comfortable control.
Yeah, he's super fast, right? So it just reminds me of Craig Tullier. When they get to be too fast, they forget to plant that elbow. And a lot of times when they're quick, it's just a natural, down. They have such a short lever that it's just and that elbow pops up when they hit too quick. And they just got to bury that elbow. And it takes time to get that muscle memory on sometimes to bury that elbow when you are in full control of the match like he was. It's time to bury the elbow. You don't need to float it no more. You don't need that height advantage no more. Bury it and get the win.
Then we go on. We've got John Kerry and Craig Tullier.
We had the right game plan. We did have it. The game plan was to go back, get hand control. I mean, round 1, if you look at the start, John was able to pop John's wrist back.
Yeah.
I mean, John was able to pop Craig's wrist back. And then, during the strap setup, I'm telling him, John, go back. Don't go sideways, go back. And then, John got a little impatient, was in a good spot, went sideways. Craig at the bottom was able to just do this and turn him in. We needed to stay back a little longer, climb a little more, gain a little more hand control. And that's another one of those, that match says 3-0, but that match was closer than the score.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because like I told John after the match, I said, you realize, your stock didn't drop in this match, right? I said, that's the first time you've ever pulled Craig, and you gave him a very good match.
And he's pulling like in 11 days. He's like, the guy's a warrior.
Knowing now how Craig is, we could run that match in 6 months and it could be a different result. Same thing with Giannis and Mindy. You run that match 6 months from now, it could be a different result.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was a very good match.
I think a lot of that comes into experience too. The experience from Craig Tullier and his positioning on that definitely helped him win that match because one could say that he wasn't the most powerful guy in that match. So, I mean, but it's Craig Tullier. That's all it is.
Yeah, it was a very good match, and it's a close match. Like I said, it's not like out of the realm of possibilities that they never match up again and John can't win it. I don't think anybody would say that.
Yeah. These matches are not in order.
John, I'm Jocelyn and Sarah is the next.
Jocelyn and Sarah are next. Pretty dominant.
It's time to go down to the lower weight class and dominate. She's done with the heavyweight. She's not a heavyweight anymore.
No, she's very, very undersized for the class.
It's time to go down to the other one and show dominance. That's all there is.
Well, I mean, but if she goes to 80, she already. I mean, Egla beat her at 80. So she's gonna.
I mean,
go ahead. Did you see the post that Vitor, Gabby's husband made in the Facebook? Did you see?
Well,
he's all. I don't want to say he's demanding. He's saying, Gabby versus Jocelyn. I'm thinking in due time, like down the road. Yeah, I'd probably say that would be a match we'd want to see. But if things are already kind of set in place,
as opposed to what though? Yeah. I mean, like, are you talking
it was very
like Jocelyn?
There was not a round Jocelyn wasn't comfortable.
So Jocelyn,
she was comfortable from round 1 to round 3.
Even that third round when Sarah had that stop but she elbow fouled.
Yeah.
I think
Jocelyn
Sarah does. I think Sarah has that elbow foul there. I think she can get that win there.
I'm telling you now, Jocelyn was not even out of she was comfortable. She was talking to her, asking her where the clean sweep was, and then in round 3 she got behind it and just sat there. She was never in any danger, I promise.
Well, Sarah pulled her back to center.
So Jody, on your question there, you're talking about Gabby versus Jocelyn?
Yeah, Vitro put that out there on social media.
Match we want to see first.
Not yet, in my opinion.
Not yet. What do you do in the interim?
I mean, there's other ladies. You look at the list. I mean, there's some other ladies you go through.
Not many.
Egla, Barbora. Those are the only two.
There's more ladies in the lower weight class than this weight class. I'm just being honest.
Sarah was number 3 in the heavyweights on that list.
Sarah was number 4. It was Barbora, Gabby, Egla, Sarah.
So you have 3 options, in my opinion. They're even interesting.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, you can't put her with anybody in North America because there's a big gap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you either put her against Egla or Gabby. That's literally all you can do.
So yeah, I agree, Nathan. I think that's that's your option.
Like I said, I mean, that particular weight class is very limited where you go down to the lighter ladies, then there's a pool. Because now if Sarah goes down to that weight class, as Tim suggested, there's a plethora of,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
You got Fia, you got Mullen right there. There's 2 matchups she could have if she drops down to 70 kg. I mean, if she goes to 80, then she has to deal with Egla again.
Yep.
We'll have to wait and see on that one. So
interesting.
Matt Mask, Ongarbayev.
You couldn't have. There's no way anybody could have told me that match was going to go that way.
Once I saw Ongarbayev,
I could have. I did.
What I mean is, okay, am I imagining things, or did he look like he has not trained in 6 months?
You talking about his arm, the way his arms looked, and just the way he was.
How Ongarbayev looked out of shape.
Well, like I said, I mean, how long is he coming off post surgery?
I'm not sure it would have made a difference with how strong Matt was, but
it's over a year now since he's had surgery, like 15, 16 months, I think.
I don't necessarily know how he trains. I don't know if he was training hard or what, or just trying to train just to make sure his stuff was in condition. I don't know, but I saw that and I was like, damn.
I don't know the last time he had to struggle to make weight.
Well, he looked heavier.
He did. I mean, he still, after weigh-ins, I believe he still had to lose another kg. Ongarbayev, right?
Ongarbayev looked heavier, but he didn't look good heavier.
When I talked to him on Thursday, he still had to lose weight.
Yeah, it was less than a kg. It was less than a kilo.
But I think from what he told me, he came down about 5.5 kgs for the match.
There goes Tim.
Probably got a phone call.
Anyway, good on Matt Mask.
That was impressive.
Not close at all.
Yeah.
No.
And maybe Matt's going to be in talks for that title shot at some point in the near future.
Yeah, especially if he keeps this trend up, because beating Ongarbayev that way. I mean, the last person you saw beat Ongarbayev that way was at KOT.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, onward and upward.
Hunter and Mindy. Oh, we didn't talk Mindy and Giannis.
Well, the matches are out of order on the way that we did our predictions. So
okay.
We have a whole new Tim, so I got to get rid of the other one and add this one.
Would you get a phone call, man?
No, I was on my laptop and it went bye-bye.
Yeah, Mindy and Giannis. You said Mindy and Giannis or Mindy and Hunter? Which one are we going with?
Mindy Giannis was before Mindy Hunter.
Okay. Yeah, we kind of went at it. I mean, these guys.
It was a chess match, literally
overwhelmed the
Yeah.
referees
Hey,
completely.
and who were the coaches of that match? 50% of the Can-Am Connection coached that particular match. What does that tell you, people?
I coached 4 that day. Tim was at 3. I was at 4.
I took my 3 wins and walked away.
Yeah, best match of the.
Yeah, I mean, and Neil and I had this conversation too after. Like, you could run this back in a week and it could be different. Like, it's so close.
Yep.
It was such a good matchup, incredible matchup.
Yeah.
2 of my favorite pullers on the planet, Mindy and Giannis, going at it. I was like, oh, this is perfect. And the funny thing is, I picked Mindy and Giannis up from the airport. They were on the same exact flight from Helsinki. Even on the flight, they were going at it, goading each other. In the truck, they were goading each other. All through the signings and the weigh-ins.
Man, you should have got that on video, man.
It was hilarious. I was like, oh man, and even I was helping. So like, I was helping wind Mindy and Giannis up a little bit too. It was we were having fun. But yeah,
All right. Not much to say there. I mean, the match was awesome.
It speaks for itself.
Yeah, it does. So we'll move on to Cody and Prudnik.
Oh man, this is where I started to get a stab in my heart.
Cody had something in the one match, but I mean, he Travis
lost his hand, dude. He lost his hand.
Travis was absolutely correct in his commentary when he was saying he needs to just get the referee's grip, and otherwise it's not going to work out well. But he was, yeah.
Round
Cody
2,
was just giving up. He looked just too comfortable.
Round 2, he had great purchase.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you do? Where does Cody Merritt go from here?
I don't know.
Where does Unger? Where does
Well, Prudnik just keeps ascending. Where does Cody go? What do you do with Cody after that match? Because now he's faced a lighter guy and he's lost. I mean, do you put him against Corey at some point?
For the number 2 spot in North America or the number 1 spot in the United States?
Yeah, well, number 1 spot's still Pablo.
Left hand?
Yeah, Pablo's eventually going to go against Devon because that's got to have to be the next match for North America wise. But I mean, then they have to go against each other, and then obviously they're going to have to establish who's number 2 or number 1 in North or in America.
Yeah.
But when is Pablo ready to come back, train full after surgery?
His left will be ready probably sometime, say September-ish, maybe August.
His right's ready though.
His right will be in action at Arizona State.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if there's much Cody could have done in that match beyond what he did. You two coaches, what did you see that he could have done differently?
The only thing I can think of off the top of my head is when he had Prudnik to the B side, had his hand taken back, would have been come up and try to get behind his arm and put pressure that way and get behind in a press in round 2.
Yeah,
really
but
I'm saying this is the only thing I could have saw to put some tax on Prudnik's arm.
He tried to, but when he tried to get up and press, he lost tension on here.
In my opinion, looking at the match back, Cody had the dominant hand and wrist. Prudnik had the dominant arm. And that's
the way Cody set up in that first match, though. God damn, he gave up a lot. He did not have the height at all. It reminded me of the way Cody used to pull.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is what it is.
I think in my opinion, it's maybe There's so many different ways that international pullers train and pull. I would love to see like a person like Cody Merritt maybe make a trip when he can overseas somewhere and do some training programs, or maybe have one of those guys over here to do some training programs to see if that changes how he pulls, to be able to go to that next level to pull these international guys.
Yeah.
But he's got Bob Brown. So I mean,
Again, international,
right?
on the daily. Maybe go over to Latvia and do a training thing. Maybe go over to, like a Neil pickup place over there, or a Lars Verbakken, something. Go over to a training camp and see how they train, and maybe
Go to
pick up
Bulgaria and do one of the Bulgarian training camps.
something like that, to where he's pulling these top level guys that may or may not even be stronger than him, but I think he's just getting outplayed.
Breaking news 15 minutes ago at the Shaw Classic, August 15th, 2025, Gabby versus Sarah Bachman. What are your
Left-handed.
thoughts? Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, they
Breaking
announced
news.
that. They announced
Huh?
that like a week and a half ago.
Well, I didn't know. Sorry, Tim. I didn't know.
It's a left-handed match, right?
It's a far closer match than them on the right. Because Sarah's left is really good.
Hey, man, Vitor just put it 15 minutes ago. My bad.
That's the first I heard of it, Jody, but I don't pay attention.
My ear ain't that close to the ground.
No, Brian announced it when he announced his opening of his stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's good for the Straw Classic.
Okay, marquee matchup. Let's go back to Mendogas
and Hunter.
Yeah,
not close.
Not close.
No.
Hey, don't worry, Ryan, the Bull Ballinger. I know you said you don't want to discuss that, but I will say this though. Was it a mind game? Because there was one point once, Mindy went up to nothing. He came, hey, Tim, I got this. Have a seat. Walks over to, where Chad and Hunter was, and get the fuck off me before I toss you off this. I mean, it just seems like he was frustrated. Well, it's just like.
Mindy's so good at getting everything he wants in the setup. And honestly, strength-wise, there's a different level of strength there.
Yeah.
To the hand and wrist and the arm.
It's a little disheartening when your opponent starts coaching you.
At one point, I thought this was a closer match than we saw until I saw Mendogas and Tom Holland. And at that point, I went, this is not a close match.
Yeah, I want to address this comment because people do this all the time. So Mendes said Hunter is not close to him when it comes to power.
That's true.
It is a true story.
Yeah, and like it's I mean, it showed. I mean, even look at round 3. I mean, Mindy beat him so easy round 1 and 2. Round 3, he let Hunter come up and told him, start going here, and let him get whatever he wanted in round 3, and just there was still nothing he could do. And everybody's going, oh, is this what does Hunter do from here? What does Hunter do from here? Like,
okay,
I don't know.
Can we hold off on that kind of question, because it's not like he did win a match. So let's not act like
So like we were talking, like Neil and I were talking about it yesterday on his show, and I said a good opponent, I think, for him on the right hand would be somebody like Hristo. You have 2 guys that are going to come inside, that are hook pullers, not top rollers, and just see what happens.
Who'd you say?
Hristo.
I mean, let's take it one step back. And if he wants to be a 176 puller nowadays, 171 puller, why don't we see who's better, him or Luke Kent in North America?
Ooh.
Because Luke Kent ran right through Histro. So.
But that was at 187.
Oh, I mean, that was I mean, it was
187.
At 176, I think it's a match.
Well, I mean, Luke did lose to Austin Tevis, right-handed.
Yeah, it was very. Yeah, that's At a very
And that-
unprepared Luke, yes. At a tournament. Yeah. Not a super match.
How
I
did Luke do
understand.
in the tournament anyway?
He
Killed
won.
everybody. Yeah. He's
Okay.
finally training again. So, I mean, I think a trained Luke Kent is a dangerous fucking Luke Kent. And so I think people are going to find that out this year.
Well, they're going to be reminded of it this year
Yeah, exactly.
because Luke's been around forever.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, but I don't know. Can Luke make 77, which is
Easy.
168?
168?
77 is 168.
What's he have to make that? The East versus West is 171.
No, it's not. It's 168.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why was there a 171 class on the tournament?
Because we were giving them the weight allowance for it, so we didn't have to take people to the bathroom.
Oh, I've always been told it was the 171 class.
No, it's 160.
But I mean, yeah,
168.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind he could with the right person in the right purse.
Yeah.
Money talks.
Yeah.
Neil
I
said
can see
Luke
him
can
at
touch
80,
Minigus, so
What's that?
Neil Pickup says Luke can touch Minigus.
Maybe it's a typo.
Can or cannot? He said can on here, so I'm just repeating what was on here.
We will see.
I was really, I mean, stay tuned for Arizona State. You never know.
What other information you got on there, weight class wise? I got a certain somebody asking me information about that. It's a she, so
Who? The Arizona
Nadia.
State?
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to her this morning.
Okay, cool.
It was
There
a
it is.
typo.
Cannot.
Cannot.
At 77, I don't think he can either.
All right, let's go on.
Yeah.
Chaffee.
That's a lot of
Georgie.
weight for Luke to cut right now.
I'm currently like another match that I felt like I got punched in the stomach with.
Yeah, because I really wasn't super competitive, was it?
I wish that JP would have just started with a press. I would have loved to see if he would have just started with a press, full power.
That's his backup move, though. Like it's
Yeah, but he would have put, in my opinion, if he would have started with a press, he would have put so much more pressure on Georgie's
His back.
bicep. And I don't think in the later rounds Georgie would have been able to pull him out in the later rounds with putting that much pressure on his bicep early on.
Well, Georgie and I were talking about that between rounds because, I was round one, Georgie got a little stretched out more than we were hoping. Round two, he was able to keep it more, but I saw Dave's wrist start to go. And I told Georgie, I said, Georgie, round three, he's going to have no choice but to come forward. I said, so when he's getting ready to come forward, I need you to go forward and not stay back, because if you stay back, he's going to press through your arm. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. I said, as soon as I see him starting to come back up with that shoulder, Georgie, I'm going to tell you to go forward. And Georgie was able to get forward enough to where Dave wasn't pressing fully like this and was getting into a little like this. So Georgie had a little more connection to the forearm and his angle instead of being open.
I'm a Dave Chaffee fan. I'm wondering, because if you watch his matches, more oftentimes than not, his wrist just goes. So I'm wondering, is that the flaw lately with Chaffee? Because his wrist just buckles and he's just like, well, F it, I'm coming this way. Here, it's like going, it just goes back. I'm like going, is that the flaw he needs to work on or what?
Well, when's the last time you saw Georgie get top rolled? Georgie's hand go backwards. It's very rare.
It's been a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Even Dev couldn't completely take Georgie's hand.
No, this is not more of a Georgie. It's more of a Chaffee thing. Like, go look at the last few matches that Chaffee has. His wrist goes back, but more oftentimes than not, he can power through that. But sometimes it's like, if his wrist can stay like this and not venture that way, can you imagine? I mean, we all know in this sport, there's a difference between this and that.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't think that he's gotten set up against dominant top roll pullers his last 3-4 matches. I don't think he's gotten set up with a inside puller. I mean, he did. I guess the let's go back. The last inside puller match he had, he dominated him, and that was that King of the Table. And so every match, like 2 prior to that, and Georgie have been dominant top roll pullers. And I think that's kind of who they're putting him against. Just maybe it just happens that way. But when you put him against that dominant hook puller as well lately, he's there.
Well,
So
Gennady likes to pull in a hook, and that's how he ended up catching Dave, was in a hook after Dave flash pinned in the first 2 rounds. And then Gennady made the adjustment. Same thing with Morozov. Flash pin when he tried to go outside with Dave, and then he had to adjust to go inside. And that's how he was able to get that stop.
that's where we go back to earlier in the show. When you lose a match, what adjustments are you making? You know,
Is there a way back in the top? Of course. Dave's still super dangerous for anybody.
I don't think he's left the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I think if you put him against
matchmaking.
I think if you put him against Jerry, he beats Jerry like he always does. He'd be a good match for Camille. He's a good match for Jerry. There's a lot of good matchups for him. And Georgie called out Gennady, which is a good match too.
better
That is a
get
good
your
match.
gas tank ready.
I would love to see that soon. That's the next logical match for him anyway.
Talking about Gennady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
What do we got? 2 matches left?
We got Corey West, Devon Larratt. Yeah. I believe I picked this one correctly.
You did. Me and you picked Devon. Tim picked Corey. I thought going into the match before we saw what we saw, I thought the only way Devon beats Corey is that he has to get into Corey's head first, then try to endurance him. That's what I thought was going to happen. He wasn't going to go right to his power.
Round 1, don't get it twisted. Devon took that elbow foul off the back because Corey was going to pin him.
Yeah, I mean that was just smart. I was just smart on his side,
That was the only way that it was going to be more than 3-0 was if Corey got the first pin.
Right.
The stamina difference is just incredible.
I would have loved to see Corey do like a press inside the straps.
Yeah, he would have had to pretty much hit for that.
Yeah. And then have to see Devon pull him out of his shoulder.
And then
I still think he could, but I think it would have been way harder.
It would have been like super telegraphed for somebody that doesn't normally do it.
Mm-hmm.
Calvin Jones wants to see Georgie versus Corey West on the left.
That's a good match. Like Georgie's got a good left hand.
Yeah.
But I don't think Georgie really is going for a left-handed match at the moment.
We talked about that. He said his left's feeling pretty good, and he may start looking at some left-handed matches here in the upcoming future.
Yeah, I thought I'm reading what Jay Clean said. I thought Corey got a little rattled, but I mean, kind of everybody does when they're pulling Devon, unless you're Levon.
I think he handled himself well.
Yeah.
And like I said, there wasn't a lot of. I mean, yes, Devon was talking to him on stage, but like I said, Devon was happy. He was easy, in a good mood all week. So Corey was in a good place all week. So yeah.
Interesting comments, Jay Clean.
Let me see what he said.
Oh, his last one is we're talking about a guy that got rattled by Tobias. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff before the match. There was a lot of comments about Corey leading up to the match. Maybe he did get in his head a little bit ahead of time. Even his entrance music kind of alluded to what he was saying, but I don't want to get into it here. You guys look stunned.
It's just because we're getting close to the match we're about to talk about. That's why I'm in this mood right now.
We're talking about the Brzenk and Yoshi match.
It was emotional
because there are certain things and certain times I've seen stuff on TV that makes me want to just say fuck. Like when I was a little boy and I'm watching Transformers, the movie, the cartoon version, and you see Optimus Prime go down for the count, you want to cry. When you watch the Avengers and you see Iron Man go down for the count, you kind of want to say, damn, this is how I felt with the Brzenk match. If that explains how I feel.
I think a lot of people felt that way in the crowd. Like there was, Neil and I were talking about yesterday. There was a heaviness during that match, like in the audience. You could just kind of feel it. Like it was almost like an eerie, heavy feeling throughout the building. And it was only on that match. So I definitely understand what you're saying. When John came out, he got a standing ovation, and John was fired up and everything. But then,
Yoshi grabbed a hold of him.
Yeah, as much as I hate to say it, that match wasn't close. I mean, Yoshi's ability to just hang out here on his bicep is just incredible. And
there's some comments alluding to that in the chat. I think Yoshi was very kind in the match. It could have been it looked a lot different, which wouldn't have gained Yoshi any points, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, Roy says I think John will pull again. I mean,
yes.
Well, by the time John was done his speech, he had already talked about training again after his surgery.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
you don't want to go out like that.
This isn't the last we'll see of John Brzenk. There's just
I don't think there's an option, Jody. Like you don't want to go out like that, but nobody who hangs around that long is destined to go out on top. They might go out with a win.
Had he won that match in dominant fashion, are we having the same conversation?
No.
Are we saying he hangs around or he doesn't hang around?
No, I mean, let's just say John won this match 3-0 with all everything circulating around his surgery. Are we having the same conversation as, do you think, well, I can't wait to get back to training again? Are we having the same conversation?
No.
Hard to say.
No, I only say that because, if and I don't know. I mean, I'm not in John's head. I don't know exactly, his health situation, but it's like, you got a lot of mileage on that arm. Seriously. And I'm not saying he should retire, but I don't know. You just don't want to see your heroes go down like that. You know what I mean?
Even the press conference was super emotional.
John is hanging around an elite level longer than I've ever seen an athlete hang around an elite level. Like there was John, and then there's a guy like George Foreman. Like that's it. Randy Couture. Like there's so few. John is 60. Like that's a long time he's arm wrestled more than most of these arm wrestlers have been alive.
Yeah. I mean, I felt that way. What East First West number was that? It was the one where Ingen had the first Hall of Fame, and I saw Cobra pull Hagar. I kind of felt the same way. Like, fuck, the way he went out like that. I'm like, and it's just, I don't know. You kind of feel a certain way when you see some of the people you admire in the sport and they just go down like that. It just, it does something. To me, it does. That's something to me. So
it does something to me too. But I mean, you got to also be realistic and know that, Father Time is undefeated. And I'm not saying John is done. There's definitely matches out there because John is still in the top 1% of the top 1%. So give him matches that are, at his level, and people will tune in to watch.
Yeah.
I got to train with John the last month and a half getting ready for this. And yeah, I mean, it's really going to tell how this surgery goes. And the type of surgery he's having, it might be serious. It might be hard to pull again. So, I mean, what transpired, in my opinion, could be his last match. But it's one of those things you never know. You never know what can spark someone's interest to do one
What?
more, whatever. But I don't think it will ever be a high level match. But like you said, somewhere on his level to have the viewership could be doable.
It's one of those never say never things, right? Like it's one of those. John loves it too much. I mean, I think he said it great in his post match interview. You know that outside of taking care of his family, wrestling is his family and has been for 40 years. And it's too close to him. It means too much for him to just walk away into, the sunset, never be around it again.
Yeah. We'll see him back at some point in some capacity. Yes, you guys, or you guys that were there, Jerry Janning, he keeps popping up at these events.
Yep, he was there.
He,
I picked him up. I picked him up from the airport.
is he
with
thinking
Travis.
about maybe sticking a toe back in the water or what?
There's talks, I think.
That's interesting. It's been a couple of decades since anyone's seen that guy on a table.
Yeah, I picked him and Travis up Thursday, and yep, there's definitely Jerry is. I think he's considering it. I think it's safe to say.
I look forward to that.
Sparks. There you go.
What else you guys got? Now that we've talked about probably the best event on North American soil that we've seen.
Not a good day for the USA though.
May 10th, Istanbul, Turkey.
Great day for
That's the next
Canada,
one.
Jody. You should be happy. Canadians did pretty good.
I mean, if you tuned in, we already knew a couple matches that were happening May, but the May 10th card is shaping up to be phenomenal.
What are you allowed to talk about?
Well, I think two matches that have already been announced are obviously Michael Todd and
Vitaly?
Vitaly, and the other is Rustam Babayev and Todd Hutchings.
Now they really want Michael to pull a Von, don't they?
Who, Nathan, who was? They announced that Paul Lynn was going to be there too. Who was he pulling?
They didn't say his
David?
opponent, I thought, or did they?
Yes, they did. They did.
In the title match.
David Samusha.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But you got, they also announced that Monster Michael Todd match against Vitaly would be for a shot at Levon.
Well, yes.
They keep sticking him in number one contender matches. They must really want Michael to pull.
Okay, so I got a question, and I'm just playing. I'm not a good math person, so forgive me. What am I about to say? So, what you just said, SB, you said they're making a Michael Todd Vitaly match, the winner to pull Levon.
Yes.
Right? What if Levon, for some odd reason, not saying he would, but some odd reason happened to lose to fucking Hermes? Then what? What does that mean?
I still think you have a Levon versus the winner of Michael Todd and Vitaly. And then the winner of that goes on for the title.
Well, I think there's a lot of things happening right now, right? Like the Hermes Michael match, even though the score was 3-0, Michael had his spots in that match where he looked incredible. Like absolutely incredible.
Okay, but he lost, which means, the number one contender is, usually you don't get another crack at a crack.
Well, don't forget during the event, remember Hermes said he wanted to do one more before he took a shot at Levon, and then said, "Okay, I'm going to do that." Which then the opportunity was going to be passed to Vitaly. But Vitaly thinks he needs one more.
Let's just say viewership talks there, Ryan. Viewership talks.
I got you. I am not part of this new generation that just
viewership talks. We talk so often of people losing and then hurrying up and then their very next match they're having a number one contenders match, and we always question ourselves why. Viewership talks. It's what
You know what?
it's what it is.
And Neil and I were talking about, it's like, how the heck is Paul Lynn going to make 85 kilos?
He'll make it. He's an athlete. He'll make it.
Yeah.
And
I will say if Hermes gets anywhere close than he did in Dubai, anywhere around that shape, and I think that's very hard to do again, he will beat LeBron.
oof. Yeah. Hey, by the way, ZB, that's a good comment. Ryan Turner did awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ryan Turner did do a good job.
Kudos to him.
I forgot, Ryan. My bad, Ryan.
Hey?
I forgot when I was saying, like, everybody that was there that worked on everything. I forgot, Ryan. My apology.
Yeah. Well, there you go. We got much else to say on this event?
It was a overall awesome event, great production, everything. Still kind of sad. A few matches that made me sad, but outside of that, good arm wrestling. If you're arm wrestling enthusiast like us four, you would say you can agree that you would enjoy the event, no matter who won or lost. But yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal event, one of the best I've ever seen. Happy to be a part of where I was a part of it, and it was great. I will say, miss Coach Ray.
If Jay Clean says, "Do I have a soapbox?" If I had a soapbox right now, it'd be another fucking 35 minutes of it, and I don't think SB has the time for that right now. So
I do not.
I don't, and I got to go to the doctors because I'm pretty sure on Friday during the tournament I tore my labrum in my arm. So
what the hell, man?
Left or right?
Not right, but I was still able on Saturday to get a win on Bedwell in the finals. So
Can you guys tell me how Jordan Weeb finished in that tournament?
I don't. And what weight class?
Same one as oh my God.
77, 85, 95.
95 probably.
I don't think he finished top 3. But I could be wrong. You got to remember, my day starting about Tuesday to Sunday ran together. I slept maybe 2 hours a night.
So you should be going to sleep as soon as we get off the show, right?
No, I managed to sleep after everything on Saturday. I slept like almost 12 hours into Sunday morning, which I desperately needed.
I'm a little disappointed that Tim's number one fan is not in the chat.
Which
We
one?
know Debbie Gibson today. Jeez.
Who is Debbie Gibson?
I don't know.
I found out. Don't worry.
You did?
Did you?
Yeah.
We need to know. We need to know, but we'll talk about that. You guys want to get off of here right now, and then Tim can tell us before he goes to the doctor?
Oh yeah, we're going to raise the price. If you want to know what's the info, $79.99.
I think it's $99.99 now.
It's going up. Just like the price of the East versus West pay-per-view. It's going up.
Oh, one more thing before we get off. Like, now the East versus West, we talked about the next main event. So what's going on with KOTT? Are they going to have another one, or what's going on?
Yeah.
Is that now the social media pay-per-view? What the fuck is going on?
No, it's in the works. Trust me. Everything's good there.
Nathan's got his finger on the pulse of all things arm wrestling. And on that note, thanks for watching, everybody.